I believe I'm one of the few people qualified to objectively speak on the whole Dan Schneider situation. Back in the 1980s, my great uncle, he was sort of a bigwig in the Nickelodeon studios. In fact, he was the one that brought a bucket of slime to the workplace and started dumping it on the other executives, and he made them take slime baths and took pictures of them. So he was the one that began that whole big Nickelodeon slime thing. And you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. But my uncle was there in the 80s when Dan Schneider came bursting onto the scene. And boy, it was like a bull in a china shop wherever Dan went. He was the star attraction, and boy, was he tough. Already, he had a reputation around town of having a pretty bad temper. But my great uncle, he saw potential in him. He wanted people to look past that, and he wanted Dan Schneider to have a shot. And I can give you some proof of Dan Schneider's volcanic temper. My great uncle relayed a story to me, and he's actually got some video of Dan, but he relayed this story to me. This father of a kid that wanted to be on TV, the father comes in and he's calling for Dan, and Dan, he's sitting there, he's writing feverishly, he's got bags under his eyes, he's been writing for 8 hours straight. Imagine that, folks, 8 hours straight. But this guy, he says, oh, my son wants to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. So Dan, he turns his head back slowly to this chump, and he says, what the F did you just say, you effing bag of S? Get the H out of this effing studio. You look like a DW. You're the biggest F bag in this whole effing town. And then Dan starts effing everybody. So that should give you a little insight onto Dan's temper. Yeah, he had a big temper, but everybody does that's passionate about their work. Of course you're going to get angry sometimes. But you look at Dan and you look at his legacy, and I think you can tell that my great uncle made the right choice. Since the 80s, it's just been hit show after hit show after hit show with Mr. Schneider. There's never been anyone quite like Dan in the history of kids television. You look at people like Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob. He only lasted 6 years. Dan's been in it for 3 decades. That's unheard of. You got all that. You got iCarly. You got Drake and Josh. Those shows were so on the edge, so hip, so hot. Those were bad shows, and I mean bad as in cool. Kids today are still trying to act like Drake and Josh. They're still saying their catchphrases like, ooh, that dog of mine, and things like that. And then Dan still today is making the hottest shows that we've ever seen. And Dan, I hope some of the accusations against you aren't true and don't have merit, and I hope that they do not find you guilty in the flawed arena of public opinion like people seem to like to do today. People don't want to let anyone have their day in court anymore. They want to skewer them on Reddit boards and on the internet. That's sick. That's absolutely sick. It's a witch hunt. That's what it is. But Dan, I hope that you can look back on your legacy with great pride. You've created all these shows that I love, and I think all other rational viewers of children's television, we all love what you've done, the legacy you've amassed. I mean, still to this very day, he's got Henry Danger on. He's had all these hit shows. My personal favorite, Game Shakers. That show it just blows your mind. I think that show was too much for some people. It's too smart for a lot of people to even comprehend. But that's what Dan does. He pushes the envelope. He revolutionizes television, and that is what he has done. And Dan, I hope you didn't actually I hope you didn't actually look at people's feet.